Hi there. Today we are going to talk about Lesson 75. And Lesson 75 deals with area of both trapezoids and of complex figures. Now, when we talk about area, of course we're talking about length and width, right? We're talking about length and width. So when we look at a complex figure, we're looking at a figure that's made up of other figures brought together. Like you might take a trapezoid and a triangle and a rectangle and put them all together into one figure, and then you would try to find the area of those. Here is an example of a not real complex figure, but it's a fairly complex figure. It is made up of a square and a triangle. Now, at first, when you look at it, you go, "Well, wait a minute. You're missing some measurements here. I don't get it. How come you're missing the measurements?" Well, we really aren't. This side here is 5 because this is a square. Okay, and this whole thing is 9. And if you take 9 minus 5, you find out that this is 4. So if you were to find the area of the square, you would just take 5 times 5, and that would of course give you 25. If you were to find the area of the triangle, you would take 5 times 4, which is 20, and divide it by 2, because that's the area formula for a triangle. Here is another, looks like fairly complicated. You have a 4 by 3 rectangle. And then you have another rectangle here, which I won't talk about the measurements right away. And then you've got a triangle over here. Now they're all related. They all share some sides. This particular rectangle shares a side here and here. If this is 4, then that means that this must also be 4, which makes this 4, which is a cool thing, because if we know that from here to here is 4, then we know that if this whole thing is 8, that from here to here in this triangle is also 4. If we know this whole thing is 8, and we know this is 3, then 8 minus 3 makes this 5. Now that gives us a lot of information, because now we can take 4 times 3, and this would be 12. We can take 5 times 4, and this is going to be 20. And we can take this measurement, which of course is also 5 times 4, which is 20, and divide it by 2, and that makes 10. So it's pretty easy. We can find all the measurements very easily by using some standard area formulas and by using our head. Okay? So we have to be able to use our head, or we won't be able to get these things done. Okay, so we have another drawing, and this drawing is not too difficult either. We have 11 across the bottom. The top is 6, so if the whole thing is 11, then 11 minus 6 makes this 5. Okay, if this whole thing is 9, and from here to here is 5, then that makes this, the height right here, 4. So to find the area of these two figures, we could take 9 times 6, and then 4 times 5 divided by 2. Real important that you remember that area formula for a triangle equals 1/2 base times height, compared to the area formula for like a rectangle, which is just base times height, and the area formula for a square, which is just sides squared. Those are 3 formulas that you'll want to have. Okay, let's look at this one. Another combination of rectangles and a triangle. Okay, now we have length here. Total length is 7. From here to here is 8. From here to here is 3. Now, going from here to here, we know this whole thing is 7, this is 3, makes this 4 from here to here. 4 and 3 make 7. Well, now we have the dimensions of this rectangle. It's 6 by 4. Now we know that this whole thing across here is 8. We know from here to here is 6. 8 minus 6 makes the dimensions of the bottom of this triangle 2. So to find the area now, we have enough dimensions, all that we need. 6 times 4 is 24. That takes care of the green area. 8 times 3 is 24. That takes care of the brown. And 4 times 2 is 8, divided by 2 is 4, which takes care of that triangle. Kind of fun. Not really all that hard either. Okay, the area of a trapezoid is a little tiny bit different. It has one element that it makes it just a little bit harder. Okay, the parallel sides of a trapezoid are both considered bases, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. The distance between those bases is the height. So if we take the average of the bases and we multiply it by the height, we get the area. So this is what the formula looks like. This is important that this formula right here, okay, that has to go in your notes, and put it right in with the formulas that I gave you above for the triangle, the rectangle, and the square. This formula needs to be in your notes. Very, very important. Okay? Alright, now we're going to do a little work here. See if you can find it. Using the formula, base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2, this is the average of the two bases, times the height. We're going to find the formula, we're going to find the area of this trapezoid. Notice the trapezoid isn't like, you know, standard. It doesn't have the same, the sides don't go out the same, so this side is different length than this side. But notice we have a height right here, and that height is 5, and we didn't give a unit, so you would just do it in units. So let's do that. Okay, we have 4, that's base, we'll call it base 1, this is base 1, plus 8, we'll call that base 2. So the top we call base 1, the bottom we call base 2. Then remember, we're taking the average of them, and there's 2 of them, so we're going to divide that by 2. And then we need to multiply it times the height, which we're finding out here. Now, you know this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I could drop a straight line down here, okay, inside the trapezoid. As long as it was perpendicular to the bases, it would have the same measurement as this particular height. So this is 5 and this is 5. Both of them are the same. It doesn't make any difference. Okay? So we're going to multiply it times the height, which in this case is 5. 4 plus 8 is 12. So that's 12 over 2 times 5. 12 over 2 is 6 times 5. 6 times 5 today is 30 units squared. So that is the area of the trapezoid. Okay, here is another way you can write this formula. Makes it the easiest way to do it. So if you have questions as you're working on finding the area of trapezoids, that's one of the things you should always go back to. Go back to that formula. Okay, now you've got a couple figures here that have not been divided up into pieces. So what do you want to do with them? How should we divide these up so that they are easier for us to deal with? Well, there's a lot of different ways that I've seen people do it. One of the easiest ways on this one, I think, is to make this a triangle. Okay, now you've got this a triangle, so I've sent a perpendicular line straight down. Now, we know that this particular unit, that's a rectangle, its measurements are 9 times 6. So the rectangle is 9 times 6, which is 54. Okay? Now, we have this triangle down here we have to account for, but we know from here to here is 5, and from here to here is 9. 9 minus 5 makes the height of this 4. 11 all the way across, 6 from here to here makes this 5. 4 times 5, this is the triangle. 4 times 5 equals 20. But remember, with the triangle, we either have to divide it by 2 or multiply it by 1/2. So it's going to be 10. So the total area of this particular shape is 54 plus 10, which is 64 units squared. Now, I have seen people do this where they've, I'm going to do this in a different color just so you can kind of see, where they've divided this into actually 2 rectangles and a triangle. It would mean just a little bit more math, but it would still give you the right answer. Now, we have this particular shape, which is a different one. It's kind of unusual. One way I've seen this done, okay, is to divide this way. Okay, so then this becomes a rectangle, and the area of the rectangle is 8 times 3, which of course is 24. And then right here we have a trapezoid. So we would draw a straight line down to find the height, which is not going to be hard to do, because if this is 3 here and this is 7 all the way up, our height is going to be 4. Our base 2 will be 8 because it's from here to here. Base 1 is 6. So the area of our trapezoid is base 1, which is 6, plus 8. Take the average of that and multiply it times the height, which is 4. 6 plus 8 is 14, divided by 2 times 4. So you would find to be 7 times 4, which is 28, plus the area of the rectangle, which is 24. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is a 2, add a 1, 2, 4, 52 units squared. Okay? You just have to remember, in a rule of course area of trapezoid, you have to remember the parallel sides of the trapezoid are both bases. The distance between the bases is the height. So that's kind of a fun way to do that. Okay? All right. One last one to look at. And this one's pretty easy. Okay? We have base 1, base 2, the height. And remember that we can, if we want to, draw a straight line in here, and it would be the same. Okay? So, base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times the height. So, base 1 is 5 plus 8 divided by 2 times 6. Okay, 5 plus 8 is 13, is that right? 5 and 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 over 2. 2 times 6 over 1. This time I left it as a fraction. Why did I do that? Because it's going to be easier. So I just take 2 out of here, that's a 1, 2 out of here, that's a 3. 13 times 3 today is 39 units squared. See why I did that? Just makes it easier. Just makes it easier. There's your formula again. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.